Welcome to By the Horns. I'm your host, Ricki, and we're joined with Brandon van Niekerk. And this evening, we've got a very special guest for all the Maxis out there. We've got South African.Hodl. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks guys. Pleasure.
Good to have you. It's good to know that there's more South African Bitcoiners out there that are maximalists. You know that I thought it's quite a small group of us, and we're growing though. It's good.
Yeah, we're growing. Yeah.
By my count, there's not many. I think we're probably about 50 to 100-ish.
Yeah.
I feel like many people are, Bitcoiners aren't maximalists in South Africa. They all kind of tend to lean towards shitcoining as well. But yeah, so we're converting them one at a time, right?
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, so my first question is like, what led you down the road towards becoming a maximalist? Because I think we each have our own story.
Kind of same as everybody else's. I mean, I was first introduced to Bitcoin in, I think it was about 2012, by my brother. See, I'm just a normal pleb, and I think for the record we should say it's pronounced pleb. No technical background, no financial background, none of that. And so my brother works in the IT industry, and he kind of got involved with it from an early stage, and he introduced me to it, and I kind of dismissed it like everybody does. And then in I would say 2015-ish, it's like after the run up after 2013, 14, right? I started mining for Dogecoin. I can't remember the exact dates actually, but I mined Dogecoin. I had quite a bit of Dogecoin, but like an idiot, saved it on a web wallet, which subsequently got hacked, and so lost all my Doge there, which I'm buttered about, because a week or two ago when it maxed out at like 60 cents, that Doge would have paid down a real big amount on my mortgage. So
what do you reckon it would be worth now? Like rough calculations.
Like right now, or like a week ago?
No, like a week ago.
Like a week ago.
Like a week ago, I was upwards of 100K rand. Yeah. So yeah, shit coins are. So it's not to be scoffed at. Yeah. So it's one of those things. I think everybody goes through that. And then in 2015 as well, I started mining Ethereum, and I mean, it all comes back to the whole unit bias thing. It's like I didn't want to buy Bitcoin because I didn't have the conviction that I should have had, and I mined instead, because I mean, mining costs nothing or next to nothing. It's like just your electricity cost. And so I started up mining Ethereum for a few months from my laptop, and then my laptop got stolen at some point, and I mean, the miner was running 24/7, and I was like, and all my private keys and everything was on there, and I was freaking out a little bit. And so the first thing I did was logged in from another PC, and at my I think it's my Ether. Is it my Ether? My Ether wallet.
Yeah,
my Ether wallet. So everything I'd mined up until then, I'd like an idiot, I paid over to my Luna account, right? So I had KYC free Ether, which I then subsequently ended up KYCing myself for. So now I've got, so then after that, I made my first Bitcoin purchase in the run-up, in the bull run, right about this time, I would say, of the 2017 bull run. So that would be September or October of 2017. So I bought my first sets, and didn't go in smashing, buying a ton of it. So bought a little bit, and kept on going up, and I was feeling like, I'm winning the lottery in slow motion. Yeah.
I felt invincible
And,
then. I felt absolutely invincible.
so, told everybody around me about it. It's like, you should try this. It's so amazing. And I paid people, and I just randomly transferred Bitcoin to some of my friends and family from my phone, because when it's within Luno, it's custodial, right? So it's free to transfer. So I was just transferring to everybody, like $1,000 there, $1,000 there,
just making it rain.
Eventually, when the bull market kind of topped out, and we went into the 3-year protracted bear market, I kind of lost interest.
Sorry, Hodl, unlike the bear market, how did you handle that? I mean, were you still kind of active on Twitter? How was your narrative with family and friends? How did you handle that whole 3 years? Because, I mean, it was tough for me, but I still had complete conviction. I never doubted myself. But I mean, when you followed Twitter, you still followed those legacy people like Rand Neuner and those people who they kind of brought you down, right? With their shitcoinery.
I've got to say, I was back then. I mean, this is in the run-up in towards me becoming a maximalist, right? So I'm not a maximalist yet. I'm just a guy that happens to own some Bitcoin or some sats. And so I wasn't. I mean, when it topped out at what was it, 300K, and then, I mean, rands now, not dollars. So $20,000 odd dollars. I was like convinced it's going to go up more, and I was like telling everybody to buy, and then all of a sudden, like falling into the abyss of the 3-year bear market. And
into the first bull market for you. Yeah, it's a hectic thing to experience, eh?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not I didn't show it to too many people. I mean, except for the people that I paid some. So I would pay them to their cell phone number, and then they would obviously receive a WhatsApp, an SMS from Luno saying, download the app to claim your Bitcoin. And all of the people I shilled it to back then still, hodl. They haven't sold yet. And in fact, they've all bought more in between. Nice. But an important part, sorry, I kind of skipped over this. I think it was 2015, 2016, I can't remember exactly. My business partner and I had a meeting, and I was telling him about Bitcoin and all of that. And he told me, so, take some of the take money out of the shop's bank account, and then just buy like set amount every week. And at that point, I was still, mining and all, mining shitcoins, mining Ethereum. I actually mined Monero as well for a while. And I told him, no,
okay, but
if
there's a shitcoin that's the least cuck, it's Monero, I reckon.
I agree. I kind of agree with you there. So, mining, told him, no, don't worry about it. We need this cash flow for like business operations and stuff. So I never bought, and I really pissed off with myself that I didn't do it back then. And so, yes, long story short, after 2018, 2019, I was stacking a little bit every now and again, but not like fiercely. And then in 2019, it's kind of when we were kind of expecting the halving and stuff to start, driving prices up. I stacked a bit harder, and then in March of last year, when the lockdown was announced, I was so bored out of my skull because my shop was closed, right? So I couldn't work. for the whole of April, and so I started listening to podcasts because I was bored. I didn't have anything else to do. And so that's when I officially really stumbled down the rabbit hole. And by that time, I've already listened to the Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean on an audiobook. And so that's kind of what triggered it. And then when the lockdown was announced, I was like balls deep into podcasts. And that's where I really kind of found my conviction and, started, dismissing all the other shit coins and stuff. And
so you found your conviction in March last year when Bitcoin drops 40% in one day.
Well, kind of, yes. I was like from December of 2019. I was listening and focusing more on it. But then in March, when I really, or in April rather, when the lockdown and all of that was announced, I really had time to spend. I mean, I was literally listening to the crypto economy, or what's his Guy Swan, and all the others for 8 hours out of a day, while chilling around the house, like washing clothes. Like there's nothing better to do than listening to this stuff, and so my whole the conviction that I have now was really built throughout April of 2020, which is kind of sad. Like I've been holding since 2017, but I never really had the maximalist attitude until about April of 2020. So yes, that's kind of the story.
Don't you find it's much easier to focus on just one topic though, and you can get really in depth, and maybe that's like the 10,000 hours thing, like you just really need to dedicate yourself to one topic. And if that's Bitcoin, you can because there's a lot of complexity and nuance and like history to learn before you really understand the gravity of what it's giving to mankind.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. Imagine trying to understand Bitcoin and Ethereum at the same time. I mean, Ethereum people don't even understand Ethereum. How the hell are we supposed to understand it?
No, definitely. So I think it was Michael Saylor that said you need to spend at least 40 hours before you can kind of grok it. And I tend to think it's a bit more than that. But that might just be because I'm not, very technically inclined or very, it's like I don't have any background that kind of led me into this. Right. So if I were working in traditional finance or something, a lot of the concepts and stuff would have clicked earlier for me. But because I didn't have a background in any of that, it took me a long time to kind of, get to understand like what's a 200 daily moving average, and all of this stuff that you now look on regularly. And but I mean, if you don't have a base knowledge of that kind of things, it's obviously going to take you longer. But I think if you're not a complete potato, then you should be able to get it within a week or two if you kind of immerse yourself in it. But as far as your question, sorry, what was the original question again?
I forgot.
Ricki, you asked something about whether. Oh yes, of course. Whether is it not difficult enough to just understand Bitcoin instead of multiple stuff, right?
Yeah.
So this gets back to the whole thing for me. It's like the kind of what it all centers around is the shitcoinery, right? Is something you do to make fiat profits, right? These guys don't give a hoot about the fundamentals, right? They don't care about what does Sushi Swap do, or what does whatever else shitcoin yams do, or whatever. They don't give a. They don't, sorry, are we allowed to swear on there?
Yeah, allowed to swear.
They don't give a fuck about that, right? They literally are in it for the quick, short, high time preference. Fiat.
They're just trading. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just trading, and so they've got no conviction in what they're investing in. They like to see the paper gains. They like to see X amount of rands in this shitcoin. But underneath it all, when shit starts to go, down like it kind of has today, they're going to be the first to drop that stuff like hot potato, right? There's just no conviction behind those investment choices. Whereas with
paper hands, that's my favorite.
Yeah, it starts from the beginning, right? It starts from the point that when they buy this thing, yen, sushi, whatever the fuck you call it, they're going to their whole mandate is to dump on the next person or the last person to buy. And with Bitcoin, the whole mandate is to hold on for long as you can.
But
that's the complete difference.
That is the difference. You're right, Brandon. But it's because the reason why they have to give it to the next guy quickly is because they know the music is going to stop, and there is no legs in this thing. And like, if you want any evidence for that, look back to 2017. Remember every single altcoin in the top 20, and now ask yourself, where are they now? Like some of those, like at least 5 of them, are like out of the top 100 or just gone or dead projects.
But even in those shitcoins. Yeah, and even those shitcoins like Ethereum, right? There's a mass movement behind it, and they've got a lot of decentralized applications and proof of concepts on it. Let's give them that. And so let's just say they have some form of network effect, and lately in the last 3 months has outperformed Bitcoin. But even Ethereum Classic and the other 1,000 types of smaller shitcoins that just has nothing behind it has outperformed Ethereum. So you're looking at these things where there's no fundamentals whatsoever. It's like the shittiest shitcoin gives the highest return.
In the short term,
a very short span of time. It's just it's maniacal. It's like it makes no sense.
It's degen gambling.
So somebody posted a picture the other day on Twitter. I can't remember who it was, but it had the Bitcoin log chart, and then underneath it all the shitcoin log charts.
Yeah, right? It was Willy Woo.
And was it? And you can see how it's correlated, right? I mean, all of the shitcoins are correlated to Bitcoin effectively. I mean, they can claim to be completely decentralized, and they've got this specific use case and all of that stuff. But I mean, if Bitcoin goes down, the shitcoins go down even more. They just it's and I mean, like you guys said, it's like when I mean, this today has been the perfect example of it. What a day it's been for Maximalists, though, eh? I mean, if you had any fiat to spare, today was the perfect buying opportunity. Like a week ago, you could only get 120 sats per rand.
Yeah.
Now you can get upwards. Now I can get 205. So I mean, if your conviction. And I mean, we're actually up now from where we were. I mean, we bottomed out at 32,500, I think.
Yeah. No, it went down to 30,000. It went down to 30,000 on Binance, 30,000 and
300,000 rand on Valor.
Yeah. So it reached $30,000 on the biggest exchanges, and then you saw Elon Musk come out. The perfect timing once again, as the guy does, saying Tesla
as a market manipulator want to do. It's going to be diamond hands, eh?
Yeah. So you're seeing kind of a nice looking V-shaped recovery now, I guess.
It looks like the bounce is in there. It looks like it's bouncing right now. You guys got the paid version of TradingView.
No, I don't pay for anything but Bitcoin. But it looks like
I mean,
capitulation happened. It looked like capitulation happened, and it looks like we're back. And the whales did their job. The whales did their job, and
Brando, put it on a log chart there on a monthly candle first, please.
sure.
Just so we can get some perspective here.
Yeah, I think that's important.
And maybe a line chart, actually, not a candle.
Now, that's a big red candle, right? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, all that matters is that we own more Satoshis than we did yesterday.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, in 10 years' time, this little dip won't make any difference. It's going to be, a little, you won't even see it on the chart. It's going to be like a flat line.
Yes. Yeah. Like when you're looking at a log chart and you're looking at like 2011 or 2012, it's just immaterial what happened there.
Yeah. I mean, that swings from like $30 to $5. I mean, people must have been shitting themselves back then. I mean, I wasn't there, but it's definitely something that would have shaken out a lot of people that went in. And this is just more of the same. I mean, we're still up. I mean, from where I started, we're up like a 5x-ish, I think. And I mean, I've been kind of DCAing, like manual DCAing, since 2018. So it's for me, I'm still like in a net fiat profit, right? Yeah. That's not really important to me, but it's like we can still go down to, I'm thinking, $20,000, and I'll still be happy with that. I mean, then I'm starting to kind of break even in terms of spending power.
Yeah. I think today was a very important part of the process, right? Ricki and I have had numerous chats, and I really believe that shitcoins take a lot of Bitcoin's liquidity and willing buyers, because it chilled out in February and people got bored and they all moved to shitcoins, and this one led to their 3-month run up. And that always ends up in a bad situation at the end. And this is what happened today. So, I mean, even Ethereum over Bitcoin itself went down at one point, like 20%. But the most important part, when looking at historics, Bitcoin is always the front runner. So it's bled and bled for about, let's just say, okay, it chilled out for a month or 2 months, and then it bled for a month, and it bled slowly. But it's like a honey badger now. It's fixed its wound. It's finally getting up, and I think this was the final capitulation point. But
it's shaken off that cobra bites, and it's ready to go again.
The shitcoins though are always a lagging indicator, and they're going to become behind. And you're thinking this is it for them, but no. There's a lot more pain to come for them, because once Bitcoin starts its run up, that's when all money actually moves out of shitcoins, and that's when you see real pain there. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I implore people to really think about what's your investment time horizon. Do you want to be a day trader? Do you want to trade against MIT kids with their own little bots that they've built themselves, and these are the smartest in the world? Or do you just want to hold DCA and invest in like the best asset that mankind's ever created?
Dude, and not of your heart rates change when you see 30% drops in a day, and you're like, okay, whatever, it is what it is. I know I'm not selling, so this is not an issue for me. But to have that stress is not worth it, man. I remember when I used to trade shitcoins in 2017, it becomes like a life-consuming obsession. Like you can't do anything. You're always looking at your phone, checking the price of, what's Cardano doing, what's what were the coins we were trading in 2017? Ripple, Cardano, Stellar Lumens. Now it's just yams, sushi, and DeFi tokens. Like it's just same dog, different leg action. Like it's the same thing.
Exactly.
I think what's important to note here is that if you go and look on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, one of those, you'll see that when Bitcoin takes like a 10% leg down, Ethereum takes a 14% leg down. And what's the next shitcoin on the list?
Doge.
Cardano or something.
Doge went down 50%.
I mean, it depends. It depends on your the time frame you're looking at. But it's like there's more leverage on shitcoins, which there obviously is, right? But
Yeah.
they kind of they peak higher or quicker, and then they fall harder. So it's in the space of cryptocurrencies, right? And I hate that word crypto, but in the crypto world, Bitcoin is probably the most stable of all the coins in over a 5-year span. If you really go and look at the the volatility and stuff like that, it's like the shitcoins come and go. They have 1,000% run up in a week, and then they fall back down to near zero. In that same time, Bitcoin just kind of steadily keeps on climbing, and the 50-week moving average has never been red, right? It's never gone down. I think it's the 50 or the 200-week weekly moving average on trading view. So I mean, the case for Bitcoin is it's out of decentralized currencies. We can debate about how decentralized the others are, but out of all of the decentralized currencies, Bitcoin is literally the most stable one, and the one with the trajectory that's won't drop you in the shit in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, because the people that really get it are the ones that kind of set the floor, right? So there's obviously there's noobs coming in, and they're coming in and selling and trying to game this thing, but they haven't gone through like this whole thing of like holding through the volatility. So the volatility in shitcoins is much higher. So if you can game it right, then I mean, power to you, right? So you can make some fiat, but you're not going to make more shitcoin, and you don't want that shitcoin anyway. You want to get rid of it when it's high, and you want to buy more when it's low, because you're optimizing for fiat gains.
Yeah.
You're not optimizing for satoshis. That's really the difference for me. Like you can trade and make fiat, or you can just hold and buy more in DCA
and have more Bitcoin with less
Bitcoin.
energy expended. Like because trading is an extremely energy intense operation on your personal behalf,
And I mean, if you take the tax implications of trading, right? So for every sell you make, you're actually supposed to pay capital gains tax on that. So
or income tax.
I mean,
it's a taxable event.
If that, I mean, only that should be enough to kind of dissuade you from trading, right? That's why I don't trade. I just buy and stack, and there's no taxable event. I'm not spending. I might take a 22% hit in 10 years time from now, but I'm not willing to take that now. So I'm just keeping on stacking.
Yeah. What's your long-term plan with Bitcoin? What you plan to do with it in the future? And I mean, you're just gonna hold forever? What do you think you're gonna do with it?
Sorry, Brandon, you were okay. You're back.
No problem. Yeah. Did you get the question?
No, could you repeat that, please?
I was just asking you, what's your long-term plan with Bitcoin? Are you going to just keep stacking and holding forever, or what do you think you're going to do with it in the future?
No, I'm definitely going to spend some, all right, but I'm not going to cash it out for fiat before I do. So what's going to happen is in let's call it 3, 5, 7 years from now, right? You're going to, after hyper-Bitcoinization, after fiat is kind of 1 foot in the grave, we will have no option but to spend Bitcoin, because there will be no other option, right? So central bank digital currencies will go the way of fiat, because they're just going to be inflated, and even easily, more so than normal fiat currency right now. So I see it as an accumulation game up until the point where let's just say that the American, the dollar kind of hyperinflates, and every day that goes by, it feels to me like we're closer to it. It's an inevitability, right? So if you spend time listening to Safety and I mean these guys, the economists, the guys with the broad, deep knowledge of Austrian economics, and they will tell you that there's no fiat currency that hasn't hyperinflated at some point in history, right? There's the ones that haven't yet, and there's the ones that have. And so we can expect this hyperinflationary, meteor to strike Earth, because we're all, everything gets back to the US dollar, right? And I mean, if you've been paying attention to the forex markets, the dollar has actually lost quite a bit of ground to the rand recently, like within the past 2 months or something.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show, it's like whatever monetary policy the Fed is pursuing is print at all costs. I mean, they literally cannot do anything else. They just want to print their way out of shit. And as a result of that, the rand has kind of actually, gained ground on the dollar because we haven't been so liberal with our printing. But that's what I said at the start. It's like the fundamentals remain.
Yeah, sorry, Hodl. Also on that fact, I mean, because of the relentless printing and endless liquidity, people are just getting all this free money and they're willing to take so much risk. And with that risk, meaning people are then willing to invest in emerging markets. That's what we saw in like 2010 and all that. So that's
the only place there's yield to be found, bond yield, right?
Exactly. And I mean, on your point there, if America is printing relentlessly, what makes you think the other countries won't? They all have to, because all their bonds will eventually go to zero or negative yields.
Yeah, because otherwise their exports will stop completely. They won't be able no one will buy their stuff because the currency will be too strong.
Yeah, but more importantly, they won't buy the bonds themselves, which means the governments themselves have to print themselves out of debt, which means all governments, because they all follow the same model, are just going to carry on printing relentlessly. So it's all a race to zero, all of them. But America is just at the forefront because they've just got a pretty, I don't know, I guess an angry populace, and they've got a hell of an inequality rate. And that's why, like, Bitcoin across the world and in all hundreds of, a couple of hundred countries is going to have the Bitcoinization, not just America.
I mean, there's gonna come a point where hyperinflation is so rampant that you've got no option. You've got no, I mean, you can trade or you can barter, but if you want to do any kind of economic calculation, there's just going to be nothing to peg to, right? So the most stable currency at that point will probably be Bitcoin. So I mean, you can't do profit and loss calculations on your business when you don't know what your raw materials are going to be in a day from now or in 10 days from now, right? So you would kind of default to something that's more stable than the fiat that you're dealing with, and there's no other option. There's like Bitcoin Tina, right? There is no alternative. You will literally have to do your what do you call it, your calculations in Bitcoin, because and so I mean, it's going to be a transition, right? It's not going to like happen overnight. It's going to go slowly and then suddenly, but eventually all the fiat currencies are going to choke themselves to death, and what remains is decentralized currency. And Bitcoin is the most decentralized of all the purported decentralized currencies. They all say they're decentralized, but Bitcoin is the most decentralized.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only one that would survive a state level of any competence attack. Like if the South African government wanted to shut down a ZAR stablecoin, I see there is one, they know who they'll be able to track down the founding team and know who's running the nodes and get it out of them in a court of law, and they'll shut them down. Like there's you just can't fight against that. If you're too successful, the government will shut you down. If you're competing with them for the monopoly, which is money, and they don't want to give that up. Luckily for us, they're giving it up themselves because they're too greedy. But it's a pretty damaging process. But it's exciting for me. The one aspect is like the rising of the phoenix of humanity on the other side when we emerge with the money that no one controls. Like that changes everything, you know. So the crash is going to be horrific. You know, a lot of people are going to lose a lot of everything, and there's probably going to be like mass instability. If hyper Bitcoinization happens, you know, it is going to be pretty hectic. I don't see how it's not, but that's not Bitcoin's fault, which is the argument that you'll hear made.
Yeah, Bitcoin has to happen slowly for that transition to happen. Unfortunately, there's just so much greed and endless liquidity out there that it'll happen, I don't know, in the short term very quickly. And this is why I believe I still think there's going to be another bear market in Bitcoin. I don't know how Dan Haldeman thinks there's going to be a super cycle, because you're seeing such similar patterns play out, like the 2 previous bull runs and 3 previous bull runs.
But as long as there's still central banks printing money, there's still bull and bear cycles, because there's still a business cycle.
Yeah, I'm for one happy that there's still like an adoption curve to go through. You know, I'm still happy that we're still early, that there's still a lot of volatility, because that means there's a lot of upside or potential of upside. And whatever happens, I mean, whatever happens in the traditional archaic system, there's going to be some point of critical mass, and who knows what's going to happen. And when the house of cards falls, Bitcoin's also going to fall in the short term. Definitely.
Like today.
And, same as March last year as well.
Yeah, but I mean, in the long term, it's still a good bet.
Well, the malinvestment's got to be washed out, you know, like the leverage longs and that shit's got to get washed out.
Yeah,
and shorts.
I think with central bank digital currencies, which are coming very soon, you know, it's going to bring a lot of confidence back, and it's going to carry on the shit system that's in place, and it's going to be able to provide credit to a lot of people more accurately and keep the whole traditional system propped up.
I don't know, man. I think because CBDCs aren't going to be rolled out universally at the same time. So people are going to see the China CBDC, and they're going to see how that works and be like, oh, no, we don't want that. So they kind of have to coordinate and roll it out quickly.
No, dude, have you seen what's happening lately? So in China, it rolled out successfully, but in a way it was unsuccessful because people weren't adopting it. So now they're actually forcing it upon them, and just say that
classic China move.
And what they actually, Bank of England is copying the model, and they've passed pilots now on all this, and it's actually and digital central bank digital currencies are live in many countries as well, like even in Africa, Ghana as well, and they're all going to follow a similar model, and it's basically like plug and play. And it's once someone just gets something that's can be forced upon, everybody will copy it, and that's how like that adoption happens like that. Because it's like forced upon them.
Surely they can just use Tron or something, right?
Who knows? But you know what's really interesting?
Justin Sun's out there making deals with all the African dictators to get them on Tron. You heard it here first.
The bullish case for Tron.
Yeah.
But, you know what's really interesting? Like the most interesting I found out about it all is that these currencies that they issue have expiration dates.
Yes.
So when you get your money, it only lasts for a year because they're trying to force you to spend it, because that's what how a standard economy works. They need to force consumption.
Keynesianism doesn't work. We just haven't tried it hard enough yet. Keynesianism will get it to work. We just need to try. Just force the people to inflate their wealth away.
It is the utter complete opposite of what Bitcoin is, right? Like they are forcing you to use this thing to just, and eventually it's destroyed and consumed. But Bitcoin is something where you just hold on and save for as long as possible.
But the thing is, money... Sorry, you've got Tron.
No, not at all. No, what I wanted to say is like you can equate these CBDCs to shitcoins. Really, I mean, it's all about centralized control, and the way it's, you know, it's like, and I thought about this a day or two ago, is if you go through CoinMarketCap, and I keep on saying that, so I'm not shilling CoinMarketCap, but if you go through it and you go and look at each coin, right, from Bitcoin down, you can find a founder of each, right? So you can find a founder for Cardano. What's that guy's name? That 26-year-old that looks like he's 50 or something.
Is Hoskin? Is it?
Hoskinson.
Yeah, he's like 32, but he looks like he's 45.
Yeah, that guy. You know, he tries to look 45. I mean, he's like going out of his way to like look 45 because he needs more social clout, you know, because he's such an academic.
So he can go pitch his ideas to other bullies at the university.
Yeah. So I mean, if you go through the list and you go and look at how centralized, and there's no real good measure of this, right? There's no way to measure how centralized the shitcoin is. But if you take some, like if you go and look on CoinMarketCap, the amount of shitcoins is amazing. I think there's 9,934 or something. Now, of those 9,000, about 80% are ERC20 tokens, right? So they're built on the Ethereum base layer. Okay, so you can discount 90% of shitcoins on the basis that you can discount Ethereum, which is it's a centralized currency, right? So there's the what was it? The DAO hack. When was this? In 2015 or what?
2014. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just unanimously, you know, the guys
just rolled it back.
Just rolled it back like we'll just undo this because it was unfair. Now I can see why they would think that's, you know, that situation needed to be rolled back, and it's maybe got some merit, like people lost shitloads of money, but if it were really decentralized, they wouldn't have been able to do that in the first place, right?
Yes.
So the mere fact that they could do that means that it's not a decentralized currency. It wasn't back then, it still isn't now. Who's the Pierre Ricard, right? He tried to do an audit on Ethereum, but he couldn't because there aren't any full historic nodes, right? Or so few, and they literally cannot tell you what the current supply is. They're not sure. They make like an estimated guess, but they can't tell you, right? And then if you, sorry, my chair is squeaking quite a bit. I don't know if you can hear that.
No.
But if you take down Amazon Web Services, right, AWS, Ethereum goes down. It just does. It's a centralized. Well, they've got, I think, maybe 3 or 4 full historic nodes, you know, and all the other nodes connect to that node when they sync up with the network. Whereas with Bitcoin, we've got at least 10,000 full nodes, right? I think it's 10 or 11,000.
It's like 11,000 reachable nodes, but it doesn't mean that's all the nodes. So I think like
what does Clark say?
Something like 100,000 nodes that they estimate, but only 10 or 11,000 are reachable. So all the others are on like Tor or whatever you call it. So, but it's a hell of a net.
Yeah, they're listening nodes. They're not active nodes.
Yeah. According to Clark Moody's dashboard, they're saying Bitcoin reachable nodes currently 9,786, Bitcoin Tor nodes 1,885. So it's almost 20% Tor nodes. But like you said, there's a whole bunch of listening nodes. Who really knows? Which that's the beauty of Bitcoin. You don't, you know, you can hide your node away.
And I mean, if anything, I went and I Googled it yesterday, just, you know, because I wanted to know for this discussion. It's like, how many Ethereum nodes really are there? And they claim, I think, 4,000 or something, but they're all different nodes. Like, I'm not even sure how it works because I don't, you know, swing that way, but they've got different types of nodes. And as far as I can tell, there's very few that are like a full historic node. So none of these nodes know about the 70 million Ethereum pre-mine that happened because they don't have the full blockchain history, right? They just synced up until 2 or 3 years ago. But if you went back all the way to pre-2015, when Ethereum was started, Vitalik and his whoever else was involved at that point did a hell of a pre-mine. And now recently, like last week, he was selling off Ethereum, and he was dumping Ethereum on his following, and apparently, he's pre-mined coins, and apparently he sent it to some other humanitarian thing in India, but that's besides the point. What he does with it is besides the point. The point is that there was a pre-mine of Ethereum. Right? So there's one single player that has an advantage over everybody else. He's got like this huge stack that he can, dump at any point. And the same goes for Ripple, and the same goes for Dogecoin.
I'm not surprised he's supporting proof of stake.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Ethereum is proof of work right now, right? And they're trying to move to proof of stake, and it's like it's not even trying to build an airplane mid-flight; it's trying to build a rocket ship in space mid-flight. And they're
trying to build a nouveau internet central bank in space.
Yeah. But that 70% pre-mine in a proof of work structure is it just proves utterly that it's a Ponzi scheme, because Satoshi understood through like proof of work, which I believe is the only way a blockchain can work, is the only way to disperse funds in a free market manner, right? He started off at zero, and through proof of work and giving up energy, you earn a right to a reward. And this is the way he understood it. But then comes this fucker Vitalik, who goes, I'm going to take 70% for myself, and then the rest we can just carry on. So just question yourself if you really think that is something you believe is the future of money. Question yourself.
And then take any of the shit coins down the list, right? So any of these ERC20 tokens based on Ethereum, when Ethereum goes down, these guys will go down with it.
Yeah.
You couldn't even, 2 weeks ago, the GUI or the gas for an Ethereum transaction was upwards of $200, right? And these were the guys that in 2017 were huffing and puffing about Bitcoin's second layer or non-scaling. They were saying Bitcoin doesn't scale. And some people still don't even recognize the Lightning Network as a second layer solution, and a properly decentralized second layer solution. But now Ethereum is sitting with the same shit that Bitcoin did back in 2016, was 2017, was scaling on the base layer, right? But because we now have a second layer that's robust, there's liquidity on there. I think if you go and look on Clark Moody's dashboard, there's I think upwards of 1,200 Bitcoin. It's something, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
In liquidity on the Lightning Network.
1,300 at the moment.
I mean, that's a lot,
so
guys.
No,
that's a lot. Eh?
That's a lot.
$52 million.
And the shitcoin. One of the biggest things that shitcoin has claimed to do better is transaction speed and scalability, right? They say my shitcoin. Look at Roger Ver, look at BSV and all of that stuff, big blockers. Their whole stance is we should be able to transact with the base layer, right? They don't even acknowledge the existence of Lightning, or Liquid, if you incline that way. They don't look at it. They don't acknowledge the existence, because that literally kills the use case of their shitcoin that's got no base layer security.
Yeah, they know it. Like, they are the leaders of the field. The only thing keeping them there still is ideology, I suppose, and the fact they've committed to it and they don't want to be wrong. But it's a all or nothing. The protocol wars are all or nothing. Winner takes all. There's not going to be, in 10 years from now, there's not going to be a million other chains that we're running our money on. You're not going to pay with Clicks coin, Clicks and Spar coin and Spar. That's economies of scale on networks what are required to make them really efficient.
And I like the way sorry for interrupting that. The guy Swan from Bitcoin Audibles got a piece about this, and he says, and I mean he's nerdy as hell, right? He's spent all of his life being geeking out over protocols and stuff, and he says there's no. I mean this conversation is happening over TCP/IP, right? So we're having this over transfer control protocol, internet protocol. Nothing is challenging that. The base layer, the protocol is ossified. Nothing's changing that, right?
And no one controls it.
And no one controls it. Right? It's properly decentralized. There's millions of nodes around the world. This is just the way we function right now. And we're all so dependent on this, right? If money goes the way of internet, so I mean, if you think of internet as the liberalization of information, right?
Yeah.
And you think of and Bitcoin is the liberalization of value. There's a protocol that's going to win, and it's not going to be a shitcoin. I can fucking guarantee you that.
It's got to be
right?
Tron, bro.
So it's the one that's the most decentralized, the one that's the most
robust, resistant to attack.
Resistant, and we all know what that is. And so it's just, I mean, it's literally just a matter of time before, I mean, I'm not saying the shitcoins are going to die altogether, but they will be around in the sense that they will be like the stock market is now, right? So people will try and hedge against Bitcoin volatility with the shitcoin, and they will try and kind of game it and like sell buy low and sell high or whatever, to kind of play the game. But they won't be the centralized or the decentralized protocol that the monetary layer of human civilization is running upon. So to me, it's a clear win. There's nothing that will probably change my mind. I've said to many a shitcoiner, because what happens is.
Are you saying Elon Musk is not changing your mind?
Listen. A year or two ago, I was proud to say that Elon had his roots in Africa, but now I wouldn't touch that topic with a 10-foot pole. The point is that there's going to be one winner, right? And it's not going to be something that's got a variable monetary policy like Ethereum, like every 3 years or 4 years, their whole story changes. It's like, okay, this year we're the internet computer, and this year we're the, NFT guys, and this year we're the the ICO guys, and stuff like that. It's definitely not going to be XRP. That's probably the shitcoin I hate the most, right? XRP, Ripple, because they've been proliferant in paying. They've been paying people to show their shitcoin on social media, right? So Brad Garlinghouse and what's the other guy's name?
The CTO. Yeah, I know. Geez, he looks like a Yeti.
Yes, they with the pre-mined coins they had, or I don't even know whether it's a mineable coin, but that aside, they've been using that to fund the marketing campaign to literally lure noobs into investing in XRP. And they were, I mean, literally at one point I would literally want to throw up when I saw an XRP show coming into my conversation. And my whole thing is like, when somebody comes, I mean, me and you can be having a conversation on Twitter, right? Like chatting about what you're going to do with your cows in the next week or whatever, right? And for some reason, some shitcoiner will just like jump on in there and show whatever shitcoin they're trying to show. Yeah. And like I had one that showed me. I can't even remember the name. I think it's DigiByte or something. and he was
Digibud. What happened to Digibud?
I don't know. I don't care, and I don't know. But he was telling me that, hey, you disgusting Bitcoin maximalist, just Digibud's going to take over the world. So, like, out of interest, I went on CoinMarketCap and I scrolled all the way down, I was like looking for Digibud. I think it was at number 64 or something at that point, and I kind of quickly looked at it, and I was like, obviously a shitcoin, right? There's no way this is a competitor to Bitcoin. And I went back to Twitter and I told him, listen, enjoy your shitcoin and
have
your
fun
hash rate.
But
But this was before the HFSP movement, right? So I told him, that your hash rate is so low that, like, if one guy in China decides to kind of to
51% attack you.
attack you, he would probably be able to do it easily. And the reply from the guy was like, hey, this guy doesn't know what Digibyte does, doesn't know how it works. And he's like retweeting and like mentioning all his friends and stuff in there.
The Digibyte
so
army.
they kind of, the Digibyte army, so they can kind of pile on me, right? Because I'm the dumb maximalist. And it turns out, after some more investigation, that Digibyte has like four different proof of work protocols and some convoluted way.
What does that even mean?
They kind of split it up, right? So consensus is only achieved when you've got consensus between four different protocols, right? Something like that, right? So I was saying, like, if a single Bitcoin miner from China wants to attack Digibyte, he could do it successfully, right? And he replied, he's like, don't know how it works, and we've got four different protocols, and so you can't do that. And I was like kind of taken aback because I wanted to kind of reply to him, but I didn't have the knowledge of it because I hadn't ever even thought about Digibyte. I didn't even know it existed up until that point, right? So what shitcoiners do is they come into your feed, into your chat, they throw these random, talking points out, and they put the burden of proof on you to do your research to tell them that their shitcoin is a shitcoin. I take it the other way around. It's like, if you want me to recognize your shitcoin as a competitor to Bitcoin, right? The market will make that choice. So at some point, whether it be in a month or in 10 years from now, if your shitcoin is actually up to the job that it's claiming to do, I should be seeing it within the next, or I should be seeing it on the top 10 list, right? There's in terms of market cap, right? So if the market decides that your shitcoin is truly decentralized, truly immutable, all of that stuff, it will probably pop up on my feed when I log into CoinMarketCap, I'm gonna probably see it up there somewhere, and then I'll start worrying about it. But the first 5 competitors to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, what's the other one? Cardano. I think Doge is still in there, and then something else.
Binance Coin.
Binance Coin, BNB.
Polkadot.
You know what I think is actually going to happen? My thesis, right? And going back to what you were saying, like all these shit coins are going to be taken down. Because remember, since 1971, they were building like cryptocurrencies, and many of the leaders actually got arrested. And this is through all these learnings, Satoshi eventually found the perfect conception, right? So all these 9,000 whatever shit coins, all the central points of failure. But what I reckon is going to happen, we're talking last night to Concarical about it, is we're going past institutional adoption. We're going towards like nation states adopting Bitcoin. But through there's kind of a middle point. And the shit coins are going to be like banks or big institutional shit coins. That's what they're going to evolve to versus Bitcoin, because these governments and regulatory bodies and all of them are going to take down these private shit coins. And that's what it's going to evolve to. These nation states / government sponsored banks versus Bitcoin. I believe that's what it's going to evolve to. And like, we're not soothsayers, but in a way, like maybe we can turn a point like to today. And I'm sure like a lot of listeners are quite interested, like what the hell actually happened today. It was a beautiful day of red. And what do you think caused it?
Are you asking me, or are you asking?
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, I think personally, I mean, there was some China FUD again, right? Somebody somewhere posted something about China banning Bitcoin for the umpteenth time. I don't think it was that. I don't even really think it was so much to do with Elon. It might be that Elon. I think people give Elon much more credit than he's due, right? So his influence, obviously, on the social layer is something that needs to be taken account for. But he never sold, right? Apparently,
He didn't
according
sell.
to him,
Yeah.
he didn't sell, right?
He came out saying that Tesla has diamond hands, right? And I love how, because you're looking at today and look at the charts, it went all the way down to $30,000. Right now it's at $40,000. So it's our first day ever. We went down $10,000 and we went up $10,000.
So we got that 10K green candle, like, at least, right? You know, people were predicting the 10K green candle. No, but really, what I think I attribute this shitstorm to is Anthony Pompliano's pizza thingy that he didn't want to sell for Bitcoin. Like, I reckon he should take the shit for this. He should take the fall for this. How do you start a pizza service on Bitcoin Pizza Day and you don't accept Bitcoin or Lightning? I mean, honestly, like, we're all willing to part with $100 worth of sets for a pizza. I mean, just for the cause. It's not like, I mean, that $100 might be worth $10,000 in a few years, but just for the cause and to like kind of make what's the word? Like, make the case for Bitcoin as a transactional layer. They should have
show people Lightning is here, right? You know.
But even on that point, like I saw an article you shared with me earlier, Ricki. Like, Tesla apparently has received no Bitcoin for Teslas. No one was willing to part with Bitcoin to buy a Tesla ever since they offered that. So
and to add insult to injury, there's a backlog of 10,000 Teslas standing apparently in the I don't know, the warehouse or something, which they can't ship. And I'm not sure whether it's not because there's no buyers or whether you know, it's just a logistical thing. But
well, it's not the Suez Canal anymore. Thank goodness they got that sorted out.
Where would they have sent it through the Suez Canal? Do you reckon? I mean, from west to east.
Not Yemen. Saudi Arabia, maybe.
Probably, yeah, maybe. Isn't Saudi on the western coast of the Gulf? I'm not sure.
Yeah, you might be.
But
I remember.
Sorry, guys. I think today was a beautiful flushing out of, you know, like the margin traders and the shitcoiners, and I think
no hodlers I know sold.
It's what we were waiting for, right? We talked about the earlier bleeding of Bitcoin, and we've seen like a hell of a V-shaped recovery right now. And I mean, today, in my eyes, was a really good time to buy. Ricki, you bought today, right?
Yeah, I managed to sneak one in.
I didn't have any dry powder. I bought yesterday, like the idiots I am.
Yeah. Listen, so I've got literally, I think I've got $2,000 on my credit card left, right? And so I was thinking about it today. But
those are rookie numbers, bro. You got to pump his numbers up.
No, on Friday I'm leaving for the coast, and I'm going to have a week of a little holiday in KwaZulu-Natal. So nice. I was like, this is literally the money that I need for petrol and for, getting there and back. So I can't spend this right now. Okay.
But are you sitting on a chair though? Because if you're sitting on a chair, you could have sold that.
Actually, sitting on a comfortable, quite a comfortable chair.
Yeah, you could have got at least a few sats for that chair.
There's no market for second-hand chairs in South Africa.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
at least not where I'm from.
Yeah.
I mean, I think to close it off there, guys, like we're not like I said earlier, we're not soothsayers. We can't tell the future. I mean, but what do you guys think from here? What's going to happen over the next 6 months?
Dude, I think we're going to see it's going to melt people's faces. There's how many? Did Biden say there's 3 trillion in the pipes coming for some more stimmies, right?
Per quarter.
Per quarter.
Per quarter.
Okay. So stimmies,
Nice.
the helicopter money is coming now. Like this before now has been play helicopter money. Like this is real helicopter money they're bringing to the table. And Bitcoin is going to be a beneficiary of that. Definitely. And once Bitcoin money is sticky to a certain amount of it, is once it goes in, it's not coming out again. Because people, once a certain amount of people get Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, then they understand and they become converted, and then a portion of them become maximalists. Like it's a numbers game. And then those guys go on to run their own nodes, and further the network, and it just becomes stronger and stronger, and then the use case keeps growing. So I think we're going to see more than 200 grand Bitcoin.
Yeah, what's your price target this year, Ricki?
I'm saying over 200.
Over 200 then.
Yeah, that's bearish, I know, but yeah.
Sorry, that's $200, right? $200,000.
Yeah.
No, not. I mean, rands would have been super bearish.
yeah. Technically, I would have won that bet though.
Hodl, what do you think is going to happen this year?
So, not like I'm not speaking from a place of a lot of experience with this, and I honestly do believe that TA is astrology for men. So I reckon we've bottomed out now. I think the floor kind of has been set at what we're at now, and I haven't, as long as this conversation's been, I haven't checked the price, but I reckon we've hit the absolute bottom, and it's going to go up from here. It's going to take 2 or 3 weeks before we're back in the 40s, and then it's just going to go exponentially from there, and we won't stop going. We might have 5-6% retracements throughout for the next 3 or 4 months, and nothing less than 500k. I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't. It's like $500k, right? If it were less than that, then we need to honestly reevaluate like the work that we're trying to do in educating people on stuff like Austrian economics and through scarcity and stuff like that. I mean, the money printer isn't stopping anytime soon. I mean, the money printer is just going on, right? It's just
the money printer stops when they run out of electricity. That's when it stops. Like before then, it's not stopping.
Every country in the world is just like printing right now. And to be honest with you guys, since properly diving down the rabbit hole in 2018 or in 2020, immersing myself in this stuff, I've lost a lot of interest in South African politics. There's just I kind of I do my thing on a daily basis. So I work and I try and make money, that type of thing, but I couldn't care less about this high time preference, ANC infighting and stuff like that. It just pisses me off. I think it's all just sensationalism. I don't know. I had a long conversation because a lot of people I know are like big Trump supporters, and it's like, you're South African. Why the hell do you have an opinion about American politics in the first place? But okay, it's like choosing between dog shit and cat shit, right? The American democracy, in air quotes, right, it's a binary thing. It doesn't matter who ends up, sitting on the throne. Whoever's there is going to just listen to his advisors, and they're probably just going to print and go crazy. Nothing has changed in that regard, right? So, America's going to print, England's going to print. Every social democracy throughout the world is going to be printing the shit out of the fiat cash, and that's what's going to drive adoption. right? So even if not so much in purchasing power, but just in keeping in par with the inflation. And by that means alone, I reckon we can get to 100,000 this year.
Yeah.
Within the next year, I mean, inflation doesn't go linear; it goes parabolic.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
2 years from now, 500K easy.
Brandon, what's your price target?
I think, I think like I'm with Hodl. Inflation is going to be worse than we think this year and next. And talking about this year, I think we're about to see a lot of narratives change very quickly about Bitcoin, just like we saw in the last month alone, how negative things got and how quickly it can become positive. But it's going to be the second phase of positivity that we saw in the first quarter of this year with Bitcoin, leading up to $1 trillion. It's not twice as powerful, but it's going to be exponentially more powerful. And I think a lot of more people are going to come on board, and we're still extremely early. Like we're in the low percentage points of actual global adoption of Bitcoin. Because of all that, I think by the end of this year we'll reach. We'll definitely go past, Plan B's S2FX model, which is the 288,000 targets. I think we're going probably maybe just below 400, I reckon. I don't know. It's like that's just what my heart says. But Ricki knows me. I'm an extremely bullish person. Always bullish, even when
it doesn't sound like it. I mean, a really bullish person would say 1 million easy.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like
on a point you made earlier, Hodl, just to about politics. I've found that since I discovered Bitcoin, I have a refound not interest in politics in South Africa as like the conventional sense of politics, but of the resistance in South Africa, of people that aren't leaving, not because they've got a sticker on the back of their car that says I'm staying, but because they haven't got a choice. They've been here for 8, 9, 10 generations. They are South African through and through. Like there is no foreign passport. They're not going anywhere. And what are they doing to improve their situation as best they can, and seeing how these guys are building their own communities, building their own institutions. Like they don't give a fuck about the government trying to stop them. They're building, and they're like, what choice do we have? And we're a hardworking people who come together to do this. So for me, that's very, very, very cool to see. But I feel like the missing component for them is Bitcoin. At the moment as it stands, because if the government money goes down, all of their hard work goes down, and they've got no way to protect themselves against that, aside from the financial repression and the political hit pieces and the negative PR that they get from every single government mouthpiece newspaper in the country. Like besides all of that, they can beat all of that. They can build their own universities, their own private technicons. But if the rand fails,
I think,
all of that.
I think a lot of people around the world feel the same. We feel quite displaced in this country, and maybe we feel a bit disillusioned. And just remember, there was mass protests happening in France, Chile, and all these countries around the world. And then COVID happened, and this was, I believe, a way for governments to control them and put people back into their homes and stop this unrest. So the whole world is feeling displeased about the situation because they know everything is completely fucked up. And because of that power, they're going to, through rationality, because most human beings are rational, and we all have some form of intelligence. We're going to understand the bigger point of Bitcoin, and that's where that's the power of it, and that's why it'll go to where it goes to. And people forget there's 75% of Bitcoin is kept off exchanges, or not on exchanges, not off exchanges, in a custodial manner. And even today, you saw the biggest movement today of Bitcoin off exchanges ever. It was above 20,000 Bitcoin. So the whales did their job. They bought a whole lot on, sold it, bought low, and now they took it off, right? there's going to be an incredible supply shock in the next half of this year, where there's only willing buyers left.
There's no more Bitcoin on exchanges. Yeah, you're right. That's coming. Like, and then
See,
what?
and
6.25 new Bitcoin every 10 minutes.
I think, and this is an important point as well. It's just mentioned on here because I don't know how many of your listeners have exposure on exchange, right? Like custodial Bitcoin exchange. Get it off, get it into your custody, get it off an exchange, because you never know how much of a fractional reserve that exchange is running, right?
Yeah.
They might be saying you've got, R1 million in Bitcoin, but in fact they're only holding, 10% of that. They might very well be, because it's not a regulated market. But it's like the FSC, is it the FSCA?
Yeah.
Financial Services Conduct Authority. They don't know enough, and they don't it kind of feels to me like they don't want to know. They don't want to interfere. It's like it's too much for them to try and get in on, regulating Bitcoin in South Africa, because the workload is obviously just be a hell of a lot, right? So there's no regulation. Nobody's coming to save you. If you don't self-custody, it's really that you're trusting that exchange that you're using. And I've got a lot of respect for the South African exchanges that made it easy for all of us to start. I don't know, and you guys as well. But I don't know, like I would, if I bought from Bitvice, which I probably will be soon, as soon as you've got your auto fiat
SatStacker
FCA thing going, I'll definitely switch over to you guys. But I mean, like, no offense, but get it off, because you never know. You just never know.
Totally.
And it's not something you want to take a risk on. I think it's hard for people to grasp. There's 7.8 billion people in the world. There's only 21 million Bitcoin, right? Eventually, they all will need it, because if only just we know that all fiat currencies are going to die, and the only competitor or the only replacement for that will be the best of the decentralized cryptocurrency. So 7.8 billion people will need it. There's only 21 million. Whatever you've got now, multiplied by 1,000, that's probably a bearish case. But I mean, that's what's the kind of capital that's going to flow into this. And so, don't take a chance. I mean, if you send somebody 100,000 sats right now, it's like, what's it, like $1,700 or something, as a gift or something. Just think about that you're possibly sending away 1.7 million rands worth of purchasing power in 10 years from now. Treat it like, yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I think Bitcoiners, they respect their money, they respect their future, and
respect their time.
And people who own dollars, they just don't respect. They don't respect their time. They don't respect their future. And I think on that point, it's like a nice way to close off. I mean, I really enjoyed this chat, Hodl. I think people maybe will feel a bit calmer about what happened today, even though it went down, $10,000 and went up $10,000. This is just a little blip in what's eventually to come. It's on its way to $1 million, I believe, probably next cycle or whenever it happens. It's inevitable, because all fiat currencies are going to zero. And I don't know if you want to have any closing words or anything your side.
Yeah, I want to kind of, I hadn't thought about this before. Just, if you feel like you need conviction, I would suggest, taking an hour out of your day, right? Subscribe to Guy Swan's podcast, right? With the Bitcoin Audible. You can find it on Apple. I think you can find it on Spotify as well, or anywhere where podcasts. Get Guy Swan. Listen to that. it's really a lot of signal, very little noise, right? Listen to guys like Marty Bent and what's his name again? Matt Odell.
Caps
They
Odell.
more, they're more technical, right? So once you've kind of dropped the principles, like you want to go technical, kind of listen to them. Listen to Stefan Livera. Listen to, I mean, if you type in Bitcoin in your podcast app, you'll probably find it a lot. Okay, a lot of them are.
Preston Push is one of my favorites.
Preston is for macro is fantastic, right?
Are we not? Are we not giving what Bitcoin did a shout out here? We're not giving Peter McCormack a shout out.
That's fair.
Listen,
that's fair. Yeah, that's
Peter's
fair.
a contentious character for some reason.
Credit where it's due. I was a big listener of what Bitcoin did, and I was also a big listener of Pomps. I kind of lost respect for Pomp first because he was shitcoin inclined, and like he was uppity about like NFTs and all of that stuff. Peter a bit less so. Peter is like kind of, in my opinion, plays the useful idiot. He's like, he pretends. I don't know if if he pretends or if he actually is this kind of incompetent. But either way, it appeals to the masses, right? People kind of.
And it's well produced.
And it's well produced. And it kind of leads you down this very complicated rabbit hole in the way of like what you would expect the general guy on the street would be able to palate. Because it's easily digestible, and he kind of asks the questions that I would.
He's still a maxi though, like at least he's still, even though he's mass appeal, he's still a maxi. Like he's
he only started. Well, the first shit he got was when he asked what's a UTXO, right? I think this was a year ago when he asked what's a UTXO.
Oh, then you
what's an XPub? What's an XPub? Yeah.
Oh, XPub, yes. And people started dunking on it, and I think he kind of embraced it then. He's like, this will be my character. This will be the kind of, I mean, he lost that bet he won the bet with American.Hodl, right?
And then he lost his key.
The Biden-Trump thing, but he lost his key. I think. And I'm not saying it's intentional for him to get better, ratings on his show, but he's like the run-of-the-mill guy. Like if I were hanging out in a pub somewhere, he's the guy that you would run into, and you'll have
pub
these
in
types of
Bedford.
Conversations in Bedford, the Bitcoin mecca of the world.
Yeah.
So I used to listen to Peter a lot, and I still do listen to Peter when he's got like really high-profile guys on. Like I think last week he had. Who was it? I think he had one with Breedlove or somebody else.
There's Lynn Alden on every month as well, which is pretty good.
Yeah, Lynn, and I mean Lynn is all signal, right? There's nothing Lynn says that you even need to kind of go and double check. So she's and I mean, so yes, Peter, you can start with him, but you're gonna graduate from that eventually, right? So in 3 or 4 months, you'll probably be kind of hurtful for Peter, and you start. Listening to the higher level type of stuff. And I found myself like really being like looking for and searching for bullish cases, right? So like I wanted to hear people talk bullish. It's like the Vijay Boypati's bullish case for Bitcoin, that's that type of thing. I wanted to confirm my own bias. And then after a while I got tired of that. And I kind of I like the philosophical stuff. It's like I like to listen to Breedlove, like philosophizing about how Bitcoin is the GG that says Bitcoin is time, and all of this stuff. Yeah, it's like I immerse myself in that because it's stimulating to me in an otherwise non-stimulating environment. It's like from my work I get no stimulation at all. It's kind of banal and it's like there's nothing there. So I look for this and what's his name? That one conversation that it's not Alex Gladstein. It's I can't remember. Anyways, doesn't matter. You go through these phases, right? So you go into initially you're like just want to get the like base knowledge, and then you go up, you graduate up a level, and then you get that, and then but there's always a new kind of path to go down something to
The
look
rabbit
for.
hole never ends, man.
It doesn't,
it's never
indeed.
ending. And it just gets more rewarding the longer you stay in it.
Yeah.
Exactly, and deeper. The longer
Yeah.
you're in, the deeper it gets.
Absolutely. And the more detached you feel from the fiat world, right? And the more you look around, you're like, isn't this obvious? Like, isn't this is ridiculous? What is everyone doing? Look at all this malinvestment around us. Like, what are people on about? But yeah, I mean,
yeah. Anyway, Hodl.
Thanks.
Hodl, thanks so much for your time. It's been a great listen and a great chat, and it's so nice to speak to a Maxi in South Africa. I think like there's so few between, and I hope it helps people find the right path towards it sooner rather than later, because it's pretty much eventual once you get into cryptocurrencies. And yeah, we hope to see you stacking in the future with Bitvice once we release that feature. And once again, like with Bitvice, it's all about buying Bitcoin and self-custody it immediately. Just own your Bitcoin, trust yourself and no one else, and that's the whole point of it.
Yeah,
but,
and we'll help you. Obviously, we'll help you get set up. Give us a call, and if you want to set up a multi-sig, if you want to put a large amount of money away, you need some extra security. We'll hold your hand. We'll walk you through the whole thing, and get you set up right so no one can hack your Bitcoin.
Just to get it straight, I'm not going to be your biggest client, right? I'm not going to be your biggest DCA here, but I'll do my part.
100%. That was a general public service announcement.
It looked like you were looking at me on the screen. So.
Good. Well, it came across as being sincere. Then I like it. It was.
It did. You're a good salesman.
Oh, thank you. Hodl, thank you so much for your time, man. We really appreciate it.
Okay.
And
Pleasure,
we want to chat to you again as much as we can, and let's build this community. Let's get more maxis out of the woodwork. Come and chat. I think there's a lot we can achieve here in South Africa. Lord knows we need it.
Okay. Well, thanks for inviting me. It was my first ever, and looking forward to doing it again at some point. Hopefully, I can babble less and talk more sense.
Yeah, definitely.
No, that was great.
We'll be having $100,000 party hopefully soon, and we'll send invites out.
Yeah, soon.
All right, guys. Have a good evening.
Thanks
Cheers.
a lot. Cheers.